The next thing I'm about to talk about is huge. I don't believe I talked about in the last video, but this may be one of the biggest points I'm gonna make in this video, right? Is that stop allowing society to bend the meaning of words, right? Like, society has weaponized all these words against men to where now men feel like they can't do anything, right? Like, society will use words like that's harassment just for like approaching a stranger to talk to them, or that's stalking just because you showed up to the restaurant to eat because you saw the beautiful waitress through the window. Like they'll use all these different terms. Oh, that's racist because you don't agree with somebody's behavior and they happen to be another race. Or that's misogynistic just because you say that you want to protect women, or that you want a woman with a clean relationship past. Like, the society is bending all these words, right? Oh, that's homophobic. Oh, that's this. Like, they're using all these words and weaponizing it against us. They're making the words have these very loose definition to where you can't do anything without having one of these words thrown at you. If you're even, like I'm even saying, if you're even white and own a business or something, you're now considered racist. Or if your income is good, you're considered a racist. Like, it's just like, you know, you can't win. But don't let them throw these words at you. You have to define what these words actually mean, right? Like, if you, like, don't allow someone to just be like, oh, that's harassment, you know, you, or you are a bigot, or you are forcing, they say words like this, forcing your beliefs on me just because you share about the Bible or something like that. Like, well, who is forcing anybody? But they use these words, pushing your beliefs onto me. There's just all these words that they use. Don't let it get to you, because if you start thinking, oh, I am harassing people, I am a bigot, then you're gonna be frozen. You're not gonna feel like you can do anything. But a lot of the men who can approach women, let's say for example, they don't use these words against themselves. They don't be like, oh, it's harassment if I approach the woman on the train. Like, they don't use these words against themselves, and that's how they've been able to free themselves from this, right? And they're not caught up in various things. Like, they don't feel like they have to follow certain political movements in order to not be called a racist, or they don't feel like they have to bow down to everything women say, you know, in order to not be considered a misogynist, right? Like, they don't look to whoever is the most offended and think, okay, that person is the most right? Like, because the person who's the most offended isn't necessarily the most right. I mean, we're supposed to see them as people, right? To be kind, but don't, you know, if you're a traditional man, you don't just think, okay, this person is highly offended, so they must be right. Like, it don't work like that, man. So just don't let this society bend and weaponize these words against us, because all these words have definitions, right? They all have definitions. Even, you know, I was talking with a psychologist like about a year ago, and they were telling me like how the word trauma changed so much. Like, trauma was like an actual medical term. Right now, people just throw that around all the time. Oh, trauma. Oh, this person's a narcissist. Oh, this person's gaslighting. Oh, this person, this. They're throwing around all these kind of medical terms. I don't think gaslighting is a medical term, but they're throwing around these very specific terms that actually carry weight, and they're trying to make it so that they can use them in any situation that they want, just whenever they want to, just to weaponize somebody. Oh, you believe that women should be thin? Oh, that's fat shaming. It's like, no. I have an actual idea of realistically that the human race, men do not want to marry a woman who is overweight, generally speaking, and it's unhealthy. And a lot of people are dying from being overweight. And society cannot go on properly if men don't want the women. So we need to have women lose weight. It's that simple. So let's do something about it because it's an illness, right? So don't let society just be like, oh, fat shaming, like, you know, don't buy it. Don't buy into it. Their words. All right. Actually, a big one, you know, that I want to talk about is this accusation of men who are jealous, you know, or possessive, right? Like these are some words that they use, and they say that because you don't want your girlfriend posting some bikini picture online, or you don't want her hanging out with male friends. Now you're jealous, you're insecure, you're possessive. Like they're using words like this. But I would say this is wrong, because if you're a traditional man, of course you're possessive over the girl that you're with, right? Don't feel bad about that. You're supposed to be possessive, because a traditional man, we're supposed to die for our wife if we have to. So of course you're supposed to be possessive over what you gotta die for, because why would you die for that thing if it's not your own, right? So I just reject this idea of, you know, people say, oh, he's possessive. I mean, you don't want to scare women, right? But there's a certain extent that it's all right. It's like, if you don't want your girlfriend going to environments where there's drinking, or your wife or whatever it may be, out at late at night, taking the bus home at night, you know, going on walks alone, if you don't want her to do that, I think it makes sense, right? The next one I want to talk about is also huge, right? There's this big push and all this anxiety about age gap relationships, right? If you're a man, you don't care, bro. Like, if you're a traditional man, why do you care? If you're 25 and you want to date a 20-year-old, who cares, bro? I mean, I think it's like scientifically fact, like women are the most fertile between like around that age, like late teens, early 20s, like for having kids. Like, why do you care? Like, don't listen to what other people say. They say, oh, that's predatory. There is another word, predatory. Like, they're trying to weaponize all these words against us, you know? And it's like, well, how do you know who I am? How do you know what my intentions are? Maybe my intentions are to create a great family and have a great wife. Like, don't listen to what people say, bro. And you know, a lot of men are gonna struggle to even attract women when they're young. So when we get a little bit older, that's our chance to finally start dating down in age. We finally got that opportunity, right? So just don't listen to that. Like, it's just stupid. And also, it's like, if you're a traditionally masculine man, you're a protector, right? So you want to be, generally, I think you want to be with a younger woman. It's not that it really matters, but you want to protect something that is more vulnerable, right? That's just a human desire. Like, I don't want to protect someone who thinks that they're on the same mental level as me. Like, I don't know, you know? Like, something along those lines, I guess. I want to protect somebody who I feel is vulnerable, because that makes me feel like a hero, and I'm a man and I want to feel like a hero, right? I'm sure most of us can agree on that. The next thing I want to talk about is like the idea of like relative truth. Like, a lot of people just take the position of like, okay, that's your truth and this is my truth, and they can both be true at the same exact time, right? But it doesn't mean you have to be a jerk about it. But I think generally speaking, you need to understand that, you know, take a stance, right? If you believe that something's objectively true, right? Like, you know, if you believe that sex outside of marriage is wrong or something like that, you don't gotta be like, oh, that's your truth, this is my truth. Just take a stance, unless it's like something mundane, right? Like, if it's like, oh, you know, the color blue is better than the color red, like that's just subjective, right? But if you want to believe in objective truth, it makes you more stable as a man, right? You're not just swayed like by everything, right? I think that's kind of, it talks about that in the Bible, right? Like the house that was built on the sand, you know, when the waves came, I think, or the flood, it washed away the house, but the house that was built on the stone, it didn't collapse, right? Like if you just believe in relative truth, oh, that's your truth, this is that, you know, in order to not create conflict, this is really bad, because it's like, you know, you can kind of just be moved too easily, way too easily. So it's best if you can try to formulate some opinions that you believe are objective truths, right, and morals. The next thing I want to talk about is to understand what a real friend is. Like don't go around thinking, oh, this every acquaintance, every blah 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 is my friend, right? Like don't think like that. Like you kind of got to consider some people not an enemy, but they're not necessarily a friend until you really know that they are, right? Until you spend a lot of time with someone, until you had deep conversations. But I feel like it's kind of feminine or something to just consider everybody your friend. Like, I mean, I know in English we don't really have the vocabulary necessarily. Like you could call someone an acquaintance, which sounds kind of formal and a little bit rude. So we don't always have the vocabulary, but I would be careful about being in large friend groups. I mean, often it can be good, but understand what a real friend is like. Someone who would actually have your back. So then you're not just out putting your trust in people that you shouldn't, etc. Because, when you have a wife one day, you're going to have to, and kids, you're going to have to keep certain people away from your life. It doesn't mean you can't talk with them, but you can't just be like, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend. You just bring in everybody into your family circle. Like, it's not really safe for your family, right? You have to have some discernment on like, okay, who is actually a good friend who can come around my kids and my parent or my wife, etc. The next thing I want to talk about, is actually kind of I wrote it down because I experienced it recently, and that's a lot of it has to do with controlling your emotions and not doing things just to prove points. Like I recently had a coworker, they didn't like how things were going, so they just quit on the spot. Like a few of them just quit, but I think two of them didn't even, as far as I know, didn't even have another job lined up, right? So like just doing things abruptly like that, like just to prove a point, I think is just kind of wrong. Like you should never be just, for example, like quitting your job right on the spot, like with no other job lined up. Like sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and like go find another job before you quit. Like if you just quit just to prove a point, like nobody's coming to your rescue, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, that whole entire company is not necessarily going to change just because you quit on the spot, or swearing managers out and stuff like that. You just got to be careful about things you say. Like, be very careful about your reputation, because you never know how things are going to tie back in. You don't know who knows who. You never know when you're going to show up somewhere like 5 years later and somebody knows something bad about you because you blew up on somebody, or because you did something that other people don't approve of, because sometimes you got to care about other people's opinions, right? But yeah, I would just be cautioned about doing things just to prove points. It can even be in the case of unfollowing or blocking women on Instagram. Like sometimes you have to see yourself as above what's going on rather than reacting to it, right? Because if you react, let's say, oh, this girl didn't talk to me, I'm gonna just unfollow her, I'm gonna block her, it actually makes you look reactive, almost like you're validating that she's playing in the same league as you. Like sometimes you gotta think that other people, either you don't know what they've got going on, or they don't know your value, and that's why, um, or consider it a personal issue. Because if you just go ahead and start blocking women, you just look reactive, uh, rather than looking like someone who's actually ready to be there when they come to you, right? Even if they're not responding to you or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I have anything else in my notes. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is don't be able to not abandon your beliefs just because someone in that space hurt you, right? Like let's say you go to church, right, and you have some pastor that wrongs you or something like that, or you don't get included in the church. Like don't abandon your faith, Christian faith, just because of the way that some people treated you, right? Like, I feel like that's how a lot of people end up rebelling in life, just like I was talking about earlier. Kids who want to rebel against their parents, like, just because, let's say, you don't like, your parents were rude, abusive, or something like that, doesn't mean that everything they said was wrong, right? And you need to be able to sort through that, right? Like, if or in the example of the pastor, if, let's say, if you go to church and the pastor wrongs you, you don't go and think, oh, the pastor wronged me, so nothing in the Bible can be right. I have to go the opposite way. Like, you have to be a strong person, and you have to choose to go back into the path of being a Christian, even if somebody wronged you at the church, right? And that takes a lot of strength. And even with our parents too, if your parents pissed you off, it doesn't, or abusive or verbally or whatever, it doesn't mean that they weren't right about saying not to do substances, or they could still be right about saying not to be out late at night, or not to be dating the wrong people. Like, they can still be right about all those things, even if they were not good parents, right? Like, on an emotional level. So sometimes you gotta, don't abandon your beliefs just because someone mistreated you who also had those beliefs, right? Or don't abandon good beliefs because of that. All right. I don't exactly know what else to say, but I guess I'd also say that we should have mentors. Have a strong man around you. Like, even if you're like, for example, if you go to like buy a car, like, always bring a man with you who knows more, right? Like, don't bring your grandma with you or your mom with you. Like, they're gonna scam you. Like, go with a strong man who knows about cars or whatever, and like, have those people in your life so that you can bounce ideas and never get manipulated, right? All right, have a good day. Peace out. Another thing, a lot of like people are saying or making it be is like, you can't have an opinion unless you're part of that group, right? But like, don't let anybody tell you that like you can't build an opinion that's built out general wisdom, right? Because wisdom is kind of just wisdom. Like, if you can build up enough general wisdom to make an opinion, don't let anybody say, oh, you can't make an opinion because you're white, or you can't make an opinion because you're not of that group or whatever. It's like, even if that was the case, even if you are wrong, okay, well, it's okay, I guess, to make an opinion, right? Like, it's your opinion, so you can formulate it.